This video I'll be diving into long division of polynomials, but first we're going to start with the basics by explaining the division algorithm. You may be familiar with it, you might not be. Whatever the case is, we're going to go through it, and we're going to use a simple example. Our example is 7 divided by 3, right? You see in numbers, because we're accustomed to doing maths with numbers. I don't know why they bring in these letters and stuff and confuse everything, but we move on. All right. So the division algorithm. Understanding the division algorithm is important for you to understand things like the factor theorem and the remainder theorem. All these other things, right? Now, the division algorithm. You see, I have 7 divided by 3, or 7 over 3. 7 in the numerator there is also referred to as a dividend. And the 3 at the bottom is also referred to as the divisor. Right? Now, when you're setting up this thing to do your regular division, you got the 3 outside and you got the 7 under there. And we know that 3 into 7 is going to be what? 2, leaving us with 1 remainder. I'm going to change back to black. Right? Now the 3 here, we know it's our divisor. I had said that earlier. This here is going to be our quotient. And this to the bottom here is the remainder. Alright. Now this should make sense, right? If I say 7 is equal to 3 multiplied by 2 plus 1, everybody would agree. Now, given that this is the case, I can now look at what I did up here. I can say, okay, the dividend, all right, which is a 7, is equal to the quotient, sorry, the divisor, all right, because 3 was the divisor, multiplied by the quotient, plus the remainder, which was 1. All right? All right. Now I'm going to use letters to represent the dividend, divisor, quotient, remainder. I'm going to use F for the dividend, small d for the divisor, big Q for the quotient, and big R for the remainder. Right? And I'm going to have F is equal to small d times Q plus R. Right. Now let's say I divide both sides of this equation by the divisor, small d. I'll have small f over small d is equal to dq over d, and the d's can cancel, plus r over d. Right? So effectively, I'm going to have f over d is equal to q plus r over d. Right? And if you want to see this in words, I'm going to have f was the dividend over the divisor is equal to the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. Right? And this is the division algorithm. Now I'm going to move on to an example where we have to divide x squared plus 5x plus 6 by x plus 3. Alright, x plus 3 is the divisor, and x squared plus 5x plus 6 is the dividend. And the first thing I want you to ensure whenever you're doing long division polynomials is that both the divisor and the dividend are in standard form. Alright, now what do I mean by standard form? I simply mean that the terms of each expression, let's say x squared plus 5x plus 6, or dividend, we must ensure that the terms are arranged so that the power of x will be in descending order. Right? If you look at the power of x, we got 2. Right? We then go to 1, and then finally we have x to the power of 0 here. So we move from 2 to 1 to 0. Powers are in descending order. And you have to also check the same thing for your divisor, right? If you're given an expression that's not in standard form, change it to standard form. Don't worry, I'm going to do an example like that. X plus 3 is already in standard form. X is to the power of 1. And of course, 3 is the same as 3 times x to the power of 0, right? So we move from 1 to 0, descending order. Life is good. All right, now let's move on to the division, the good stuff. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide the first term in the dividend by the first term in the divisor, right? So x squared divided by x is equal to x, right? And I'm going to put the x in the quotient right there, and I'm going to try to align terms in the quotient with the like terms in the dividend, right? X is where the x's are. It kind of sounds stupid, but you get what I'm saying. All right. Now, we're going to multiply the x by our divisor, right? So I'm going to have x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x, right? And I have nothing else remaining, so I'm just going to put plus 0. I'm going to subtract, right? X squared minus x squared is going to be 0. 5x minus plus 3x is the same as 5x minus 3x, which is going to be 2x. All right? And 6 minus 0 is still 6. All right. Now what am I going to do now? I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to divide 2x by the first term in the divisor. 2x divided by x is going to be 2, right? So I'm going to put that 2 in the quotient, right? Now I'm going to multiply the 2 by the divisor. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract, all right? 2x minus 2x is 0. 6 minus 6 is 0. So I have no remainder. All right? Remainder is 0. This is my quotient. This is my divisor. And of course, this was the dividend f. So if you want to write down your answer in a complete format using the division algorithm, I'm going to have x squared plus 5x plus 6 over the divisor, x plus 3, is equal to the quotient, x plus 2. And we have nothing as a remainder, right? Because we would have put plus the remainder over the divisor. But since the remainder is 0, then you have nothing there. So this is the answer. Now I have x cubed minus 6x squared minus 9x plus 54 divided by x minus 6, right? X minus 6 is a divisor. So I have x minus 6 outside here. And the dividend, which is that cubic expression up there. So x cubed minus 6x squared minus 9x plus 54. All right, now what do I do? The first thing I do is divide. And to remember, just remember DMS. DMS, right? Divide, multiply, subtract. Right? DMS. Don't make soup. Right? All right, now I'm going to have x cubed divided by x. X cubed divided by x is going to give me x squared, right? So I'm going to have x squared up here. Remember, align x squared with the like term in the dividend, right? So I'm going to have x squared multiplied by x minus 6, right? So that's x squared times x is going to give me x cubed. X squared times minus 6 is going to give me minus 6x squared, right? And I don't have anything else to multiply, so I'm just going to fill in all the spaces with 0. Now what do? We subtract, right? Subtract. X cubed minus x cubed is 0, right? Minus 6x squared minus 6x squared. Let me write it down, right? Minus 6x squared minus 6x squared. This is effectively plus, right? So I have minus 6x squared plus 6x squared will give me 0, right? And minus 9x minus 0 is minus 9x. 54 minus 0 is 54. Okay, that was the next step. Divide. Cycle starts back. Right? So now I'm going to divide minus 9x by x. Right? Minus 9x divided by x is going to give me minus 9. Alright, so I'm going to have minus 9 up here. So, and where am I going to put minus 9? I'm going to put it over the 54. Right? Over the like term. So now minus 9 times x is going to give me minus 9x. Minus 9 times minus 6 is going to give me positive 54. Right? And now I subtract. Minus 9x minus 9x is going to give me 0. Right? 54 minus 54 is going to give me 0. Alright, let's write down our answer now. Dividend over divisor. So it's going to be x cubed minus 6x squared minus 9x plus 54 over the divisor, which is x minus 6, is equal to the quotient x squared minus 9 plus the remainder divided by the divisor. Right? Since the remainder is 0, then I don't have to write anything else. So this is my answer here. This is how I set it up. Alright, moving on. Now remember, the first thing we do, check to make sure that the divisor and the dividend are in standard form. Right? If I look at my dividend here, it's not in standard form. Because I went from x to the third power to x to the second power, then straight to x to the power of 0. Right? I skipped x to the first power. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just add in 0x right there to account for that x to the first power. Plus 3. Divided by 3x minus 1. And my divisor, well, you can look at it and see that it's in standard form. Right? So 3x minus 1 is a divisor, so we put it outside there. And the 6x cubed plus 5x squared plus 0x plus 3. I want that to be under that symbol, right? Now the first thing I do, divide. 6x cubed divided by 3x is going to give me 2x squared. Right? Put the 2x squared over the 5x squared. 2x squared times 3x is going to give me 6x cubed. Right? 2x squared times minus 1 is going to give me minus 2x squared. Right? And I'm left with nothing else to multiply, so I'm going to just fill the spaces with 0. Now I subtract. Alright. 6x cubed minus 6x cubed is 0. Right? 5x squared minus 2x squared. Let me write it out. 5x squared minus 2x squared. This is effectively plus is the same as 5x squared plus 2x squared, which is 7x squared. Alright? So I have 7x squared here. 0x minus 0 is still 0. plus 3 minus 0 is still 3. Right? Now what do we do now? We divide. Right? 7x squared divided by 3x. 7x squared divided by 3x is going to give me, right? The x to the bottom and cancel out, leaving me with x to the top there. I have 7 upon 3x, right? So plus 7 upon 3x. 7 upon 3x multiplied by 3x. Let's write it down. 7 upon 3x multiplied by 3x is going to give me, right? 3 and 3 cancel out to give me 7x squared. Right? So I have 7x squared down here. 7 upon 3x times minus 1 is going to give me minus 7 upon 3x. Right? And I don't have anything else to multiply, so I'm just going to fill the space there with 0. Alright. 7x squared minus 7x squared is 0. Right? 0 minus 7 upon 3x is positive 7 upon 3x. Right? 3 minus 0 is 3. Now what do I do now? Again, I divide. Cycle starts back. Alright. 7 upon 3x divided by 3x. Alright? Divided by 3x. Let's see what we get. Alright, this is the same as 7 upon 3x multiplied by 1 upon 3x, right? X and x and cancel out to give me 7 upon 9. Right? So I'm put 7 upon 9 at the top here. 7 upon 9. 7 upon 9 multiplied by 3x is going to give me 7 upon 3x. 7 upon 9 multiplied by minus 1 is going to give me minus 7 upon 9. Right? I'm going to minus everything now. Alright. 7 upon 3x minus 7 upon 3x is 0. 3 minus 7 upon 9 is going to give me 3 plus 7 upon 9, right? So I get 34 upon 9 as my remainder. Alright, let's set down our answer now. First, let's label everything. This is my dividend. Dividend. This is my divisor. This is my quotient. Quotient, right there. Alright, remember, dividend over divisor. Alright, so that's going to be 6x cubed minus, no, 6x cubed plus 5x squared. I'm going to leave it at 0x plus 3 over the divisor, which is 3x minus 1. That's equal to the quotient, which is 2x squared plus 7 upon 3x plus 7 upon 9, plus the remainder, which is 34 upon 9 over the divisor, right? Over the divisor, which is 3x minus 1. Okay, so now I have 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x plus 1 as my dividend. And I have x squared plus 1 minus 2x as my divisor. Right? Now what did I say you must do? Check to make sure that the dividend and divisor are in standard form. And if I look at my divisor here, I can see that it's not in standard form, because I went from x to the second power to x to the 0 power, then to x to the first power, right? So I just have to rearrange it to write it in standard form. But the dividend is in standard form, as you can see. 2x squared minus 5x plus 1 divided by x squared. I'm going to swap the 1 and the minus 2x plus 1. Divisor goes on the outside. Divisor, I have x squared minus 2x plus 1. And my dividend goes under the symbol, right? The first thing I do, divide, right? 3x cubed divided by x squared. 3x cubed divided by x squared is going to give me 3x, right? And where do I put the 3x? Over the minus 5x, right? Now what do I do next? I multiply. 3x times x squared is going to give me 3x cubed, right? 3x times minus 2x is going to give me minus 6x squared. 3x times 1 is going to give me plus 3x, right? I have nothing else to multiply, so I put 0 there. And now I subtract. I'm going to subtract. I have 3x cubed minus 3x cubed. It's going to give me 0, right? 2x squared minus 6x squared. Right? 2x squared minus 6x squared. This is what? Plus, right? So it's 2x squared plus 6x squared, which is 8x squared. Right? So I have 8x squared here. Minus 5x minus 3x is going to give me minus 8x. Right? And 1 minus 0, of course, is going to be 1. All right. What's the next step? Divide, right? 8x squared divided by x squared, right? 8x squared divided by x squared is going to be equal to 8, right? So I put 8 at the top there. 8 multiplied by x squared is going to give me 8x squared. 8 multiplied by minus 2x is going to give me minus 16x. And 8 multiplied by 1 is going to give me 8. Now what do I do now? I subtract. 8x squared minus 8x squared is 0. Right? Minus 8x minus 16x. Right? Let me write this down. Minus 8x minus 16x. This is plus, right? So this is the same as minus 8x plus 16x, which we know is equal to 8x. All right, this is 8x here. 1 minus 8 is going to be what? Minus 7. Now notice that my remainder right here is a function of x. And you're probably wondering, why don't I continue and divide 8x by x squared? Well, that is because we stop when the degree of the remainder is less than the degree of the divisor. Now what do we mean by degree? I mean the highest power of x, right? The highest power of x in the remainder is lower than the highest power of x in the divisor, right? The highest power of x in the remainder is 1, and the highest power of x in the divisor is 2, right? So we stop. We stop when the highest power of x in the remainder is lower than the highest power of x in the divisor. All right, so let's set down our answer now. I have the dividend over divisor. Dividend is 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 5x plus 1 over divisor is x squared minus 2x plus 1 is equal to quotient, which is 3x plus 8 plus the remainder, remainder, 8x minus 7 over the divisor, right, which is x squared minus 2x plus 1. That's my answer. Being said, that brings us to the end of this video. Guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If I said anything that was stupid or you find stupid, don't be scared to leave a comment. I'll catch y'all next time. Walk in the car now.